How's it going, everybody? Hey, and ask something. Wow. He, hey, Geezer and Val and Truth Fears, Chris. Are there two? No, there's just one. What's up? Let me see. Ah, okay. Well, Chris, where in Asia are you? Hi, Stefan. Let's see. Who here has Instagram? What's up on Instagram, Val? Formosa. Okay. Tawan. Hey, Lee. Hi, John. Clyde. Oh, hey, Watch Abbott. I'm flipping Zippo. Um, oh boy, Dominic, how are you doing? Dwayne. Oh man, I had the posted that my review. I got review or video on Piaget, and apparently the Piaget originally had one called the Ultimate Alti Plato Altiplano watch. And then they came out with a new one that's really thin that I was talking about, and there was no price on it that I could find. I later found out it's like $300,000 or something like that, and so the one that I found, I was looking for a price, and the one I found was instead of being 2 millimeters thick, it was 4.5. Now, 4.5 millimeters thick isn't very thick. A lot of movements that advertise themselves as thin movements are 4.5 millimeters, and that was the one that was on the price that I had for it. So, sorry about that, everybody. Oh, let's see what's up. Um, I I redid the this uh, movement, and I put in a different brigade hand, and that was the one that I had on the little announcement. Let me see if I can uh, print it out here, and I'll show you what it is. It's the one yesterday that I had that I made. I showed you guys saw that, didn't you? Or did you? Maybe in the if you were here in the afternoon, you saw it. Um, but not for the morning, perhaps. So let me see if I can show it to you here. Bip, bip. Okay, this is the new one. Um, and I'll just print her out there. Print, bingo. Oh, there we go. Okie doke, what's going on here? Hey, Junior, Paul O'Shea, how you doing? Um, right before we started, I was looking at my what I do with it. Here it is. I was looking at my uh this is the latest Eurostar. I don't know how many of you get this, but it's a trade magazine and so forth. And this one was from the first one in 2020, and they had an article about the watch shows that are coming up, And this was, I don't know how long ago it was, but it was pretty early in the year. And even then, they were talking about um, the possibility that they may have to cancel some shows. And they were still talking, I think at the time, Basil World didn't have, first of all, they did, yeah, it's called 2020 A Fragile Schedule. And the, uh, they have one, it was called Time to Move. I didn't know about that one. I guess it's by Swatch. It was canceled. And and Grand Seiko has one in Tokyo, and it was canceled. You know? And so they're going around. They have this whole thing here around, not only around the world but around time. And I noticed the one in Los Angeles, sometime in May for the Watch Time show. They have a Watch Time show in New York in October, and then I guess they have one sometime in May in Los Angeles. Do you know if the one in Los Angeles was canceled? I'm hoping that the one for October isn't canceled. I hope everyone gets to go. I mean, it's sort of an annual meeting that we get together and everyone just sort of talks about stuff and sees what's new. I don't know what it's going to be like. Even in October, people may be afraid to go. Did anybody notice that everyone was talking about Basil when Rolex Patek pulled out, but when it finally did died this week, nobody covered it much. Yeah, I think it was pretty. It was a good point. I think it was dead when Patek and Patek pulled out. A lot of people thought it was pretty dead. I mean, it was this huge show, and then I guess they got, I don't know, funny about it, and Patek Philippe and Rolex decided they didn't want to go to Basel for whatever reason. And the SIHH show was really the one by Richemont. And so, I don't know what the deal is. Richemont's been making all kinds of deals with Rolex. Who knows what's going on? There's, I don't think there's much of a chance of Rolex being bought by Richemont, but they seem to be, getting along in ways that we really didn't expect. Um, okay. Hey, Howard, how you doing? Watch Time LA was canceled. Thanks, Howard. I sort of thought it would be, but I wonder what's going to happen to the one in New York. Uh, the they have the Horological Society of New York has this annual dinner and auction to raise money on it for a charity. I think for kids who want to go to watchmaking school, and I think it was scheduled for April 1st, and they moved it to August 1st. And I had gotten tickets for my wife and myself, and so I still got them. I'll see what happens in August. That it sort of looks. It's one of those things that I better go on a major diet so I can fit in my clothes again, and something I look forward to going to. And I haven't been before, but the last horological society event I went to, that was in New York when FP Journe visited, and then the next week I went to Cellini's and interviewed uh, Edward Malone, and so it was like, and now all of a sudden it just like shut off. Um, Hi Ian, how you doing? So some other stuff I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned with this group, but I did it 4 o'clock. The I ran across an article, and well, I got an email that said, "Hey, how about the here are three things from Chrono 24 that are tips for you." And it's the first time I've ever seen one of the tips was to negotiate. In other words, they're saying, "Hey, here we got a seller, and to get the best price, negotiate with them." I've never seen that before. I was taking a look at a watch this morning there, and they wanted too much for it, really. I mean, way more than, not way more, but about a couple $1,000s more, I think, than the watch was worth. And so I thought, I'll go check and wonder what they'd negotiate with, and click the negotiation thing, or they make an offer bar, and we don't negotiate. And I'm thinking, good, you use that watch for a doorstop, because at that price, I don't think anybody who knows anything is going to buy it. So, you have things like that, and you got people who got these fixed notions in their head and they never want to change. And, you know, they may not be around long. Hey, Kaz, how you doing, man? London Watch Show got pulled also. Okay, Paul, thanks. Hey, Blaine, they gave Chairman Mao a gift from Lou Gray. What? Yeah, what did he get? Lou Gehrig's disease? Something like that. Uh, okay. Um, Husky Klinger is a false messiah. I don't know who Husky Klinger is. So Killinger. Um, okay. Hey, the problem with some of these events is the requirement of international travel and quarantine once you arrive at your destination. No kidding. That would be like, oh yes, come and visit our show. By the way, you're going to have to be quarantined for 2 weeks before you can, you know, I don't know. Um, oh, Henry Kissinger. Okay. Um, Still waiting on my early April offer to be repelled by a dealer in Florida. Don't come crawling back when you are hurting for cash. Oh, now come on. We don't want to be mean to them, but there's don't if I'm selling a watch right now, I don't know if this would be a good time to sell one. Maybe it would be, and maybe it wouldn't. The reasons it would be is that some people are, they haven't been buying anything. They haven't been going out to dinner or anything else. I think I'll buy a watch, with this extra money I have. On the other hand, too, is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of activity, because other people are, saying, I don't know what's going to happen with the economy. I'm going to hang on to every nickel I have until, I get my job back, and a bunch of other things like that. They should not hold it in the UK. It has been reported 100,000 people enter the UK every week with no health check. Ooh, not even a reply, and this is an online dealer. And that's something, I know a guy like that. Um, Here's the thing right now, you don't know what's going on the other end. Um, like God, it's been over a month now when I wrote to Lang and Hein about, hey, you guys got something, what, let's talk about buying a UWD, uh, what are they, 33.2, okay, and nothing. I haven't heard a thing back from them. But on the other end, they may say, okay, if we get something from here, we're going to ignore it. If we get something on our own email, I don't know what they're doing. They in my opinion, I love Langenheim, no doubt about it. Okay, but their whole marketing, the way they do things, is sort of nuts. So, um, not hearing from them doesn't disturb me. Sometimes I've written them and I get something right back. Other times, nothing. So what that is, okay, I'm serious about buying this thing. Nothing. On the other hand, it's, how come you ask them a question? How come you have three lugs on your watches? I don't know. They'll make them with two if you want. I found out. Um, okay. Um, who's going into politics? They should hold it in the UK. Yeah. I don't see that. That doesn't sound political, is it? 45. Hey, uh, globalist economy. I tell you, I sort of things are that way. A lot of people say, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. But the reality is, if you're running a business and you want to make a profit, a lot of times you can't have your manufacturing in your backyard because it would cost you too much. On the other hand, if you send it halfway around the world, you can get it for a much better price, including the shipping and everything else. And so, people say, well, they're not into being a globalist. It's not a matter of if or not if. That's what we do in world trade these days. So, if I want to sell something in the U.S., that's pretty easy for me because it's where I live. But from friends in Canada, they got, oh no, don't. They got all these crazy tariffs and stuff. Smuggling straps, smuggling perfectly legal gator straps. If you send them regularly without having written a dictionary worth of excuses why your thing's okay, so people just take them off and ship them in a birthday card or something. It's like, oh, now we're smuggling. Yeah, a lot of crazy things happen on this. I think VC. Okay, what about VC? Anybody knows what brand Trump wears since he is? God, I hope he doesn't wear a VC. I don't know what he wears. He had some with a few years ago. He had some with his Trump name on it. There was some outfit, that would sort of fix up a watch with your name on it if you wanted them to, and that was the last one. But he probably, God knows what he has. Yeah, whatever Putin gave him, I guess. Oh man, hey Dwayne, what's up? Just viewed the new Rolex Daytona with fake guys inside from China. Oh man, let's not talk about fake Rolexes, please. There's so many things on fake Rolexes. God, I mean, it's like I don't know. Yeah, talk about fake Rolexes if you want. Um, Pecunia, not money does not smell. Okay. Uh, Parade Video, Parade Video. Sometimes I wonder what you guys are talking about. I think I live on another planet. This is, and I'm talking away, and everybody else is having fun over here. Okay, tell us about Dorbunt and why you don't have one yet. Any watch I don't have that's somebody else's favorite, it's not that I don't like that watch. It's like I like other ones better. Um, I got a question for you guys too in a second. Um, are you going to chastise the host now? Go ahead. I get chastised. Yeah, I tell you, you have to get in line though. Oh, I had 6 years of Latin Fahrenheit. 6 years, my God. Stefan, you had 6 years of Latin. My, was that? I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, I think it's the coolest thing in the world. It's like learning Sanskrit. I'd like to learn it too. But I struggled with Spanish for I think about 5 years of Spanish. I'm still terrible at it. Okay, all right. Nobody. Okay, let's see. I had 6 years of Latin. I like going. Okay, all right. You guys, good Catholic school. Yeah, that's what I figured. I had to learn Russian because my Latin teacher didn't know German. That's sort of cool. Hey Val, I would love to speak Russian. When I was in high school, I was taking Spanish, and my sister was taking Russian and Spanish, and she got an A in Russian and a C or a C in Spanish. She struggled with Spanish. I think she liked her Russian teacher better. I I love the sound of Spanish when it's pronounced not the way I do, but correctly, and French. Those really pretty languages. I took one Latin lesson while watching The Life of Brian. Yeah, that's another thing. Are any of you taking any classes now? Before I retired, for some reason, before I retired, I was taking all of these really great classes online that range from a early early New England poets to a course at MIT on an economics course, several really great computer programming courses and things like that. And that was a lot of fun, but it really was a lot of work. It turned out they're really good too. So I'm just curious. Anybody taking a course now? Hey, Dominic, I'm too young for OSS. Don't kid yourself, Dominic. They were strong when I was around. I'm a war baby. Okay, every second person in Vienna speaks Russian. Cool. So does Rolf Lang. Rolf Lang speaks German and Russian. German is not for the feeble-minded. Um, yeah, I know, Stefan. That's how come I wanted to learn Austrian. It was much easier than German. Hey, watch Abbott. I married my wife because of her English accent. That's as good a reason as any. Uh, okay, let's see. Putin wears Patek. Yeah, I know. It's who shared the movie OSS? Who starred? Oh, I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about Wild Bill. What's his face? Who started the OSS? The real thing. I'm not sure what the movie was. Alan Ladd. Okay. Look, Putin now mostly wears IWC mark figures. Probably got a probably one of those ones with an ETA in it or a Solita. Who starred? Okay, 13 Raven. I don't know. James Cagney. Oh, I didn't watch movies then. Ducking bombs. Okay, hey, let's Bill Donovan. That's it, Dominic. Okay, listen, got a question for you guys. I got a query from one of our sons who said he wanted to buy a moon phase watch, and I've got a moon phase watch, and I love my moon phase watch, um, but not because of the moon phase as an instrument. It's sort of fun to have, but a moon. This is just the way I see it. Okay, having a moon phase and actually using it is about as much fun as watching paint dry. It's just like nothing happens, and then you have to go online and find out what the proper phase is. And when I do reset it, I'm afraid to reset it because the one I have is so delicate that Christian Vanderklaw is like a real fanatic on astronomical movements, and he did the one on my watch. Now it's sitting on top of what is it? A Soprod movement uh, that was based on the 4L from Seiko, and so it's got a great movement underneath it, and but it's got a delicate setting for the moon phase, and so yeah, I set it the other day. I felt being very brave, and so he says, "Gee, I'd like to get a moon phase." I thought, well, to me, a moon phase is this: a moon phase can be a decoration on a watch. It can be very cool. And if somebody said they wanted to get a moon phase, well, what I'll tell him, but I mean, he was sort of going in sort of a lower thing on it, and so looked around, and found a good buy on a Mont Blanc. But if I were gonna get a moon phase, and I was, just as a collector and wanted to have a good collection of watch, I get a Jaja Lecoultre Master with a moon phase. That because I think most of the watch that you're going to use isn't going to be the moon phase. Okay, so let's hear your views. Oh, I tell you, a moon phase I do like the looks of is a Blood Moon by something that starts with an S. Really a name I can't pronounce. Okay, let's see what's going on. Christopher Ward is a fairly entirely new movie. Okay, new watch. All right, with lots of okay. Moon phase is sexy, but less for most, and the moon have a certain influence on females. Yeah, turn into werewolves. Um, okay, Clyde Mills. Let's see, Blaine. Some of the moons and watches with that complication are most attractive part of the dial. Yeah, that's. I think that the way it is with my Series 74. It makes it look cool, and that's. But sitting there watching it, nothing's gonna happen. Um, Useful for farmers and werewolves. That's true, Val, especially the werewolves. I think farmers have their almanac. Let's see. Vianney Halter has moon phase and solar included. Yeah. Yeah, something by a guy like that, but that's like 50, 60, 70,000 dollars. Same thing from Christian Vanderklau. You get one of their what do they call it? They have a little 3D moon and it's accurate and it'll give you the right dimple on the moon. But I mean, just saying, okay, I want to add a moon phase to my collection, and but I want a good one, and that's how come I would recommend the Zsa Lakutra, because most of the watch you're going to have is not going to be looking at the moon phase, but the moon phase is there for a decoration. Also, a number of their reversos with moon phase are nice looking watches. Uh, for a serious moon phase, it'd be, I mean, someone who's really into that, get a, God, I forget what they're called, but it's a Christian Vanderclaw with a little three-dimensional moon. Great watch. Okay, go Moser. Oh God, yes, the Moser moon with that black one. That is beautiful. And but you got to reset it every 2,000 years or something. Okay, some of the moons and watches with that complication are the yeah, moon made out of Swiss cheese. Oh ha ha ha! I mean, it's green cheese or something like that. Okay, you're thinking of the Schwamberg blood moon? Yeah, I that's an interesting looking watch. Now, the I like it with the white dial and the red moon. And the ones I've seen, some friends have ones that have the black dial with the moon on it. And that was really, I mean, there you have the moon is a big part of it. I mean, as the name of the watch is Blood Moon, so you got this great big subdial at 6 o'clock with this great big moon in it. Okay, Val, go away. The internationalization of Swiss watch manufacturing supply chains means that there is really more and more non-Swiss content hidden in Swiss-made watches. That's true. The thing of it is that it, it, no one can tell. I mean, like at one time, Swiss made was like, oh, if it's not Swiss made, it's probably not as good. It's not true anymore. You get some guy in Shanghai knocking them out with a machine and ship them, smuggle them in there, smuggle them in a box of Gator watch bands. Let's see, no more than 40%. Yeah, that's what they say. Do they have a guy that comes around and measures them still? I don't know. I like what FP Jorn does. He doesn't deign to put Swiss made on his. He has all of them are made in Geneva, uh, including the cases and everything else in his shops there. Um, so I think that's sort of funny. Hey Kelly, what do you think about our GM watches, the 801 in-house movements made in USA? They are great. They're very expensive though. I think Roland Murphy has that the uh, Corps of Engineers. I think there's one of 801. I love that watch. Very expensive watch though, but I like it a lot. And his movement, Also too, he's got one of his movements he has the Jacquet 736. And I talked to him about that one day at in fact, I think it was last year we were talking about it at the Watch Time show. And he had a little more information that he was willing to share about old, what is it, Jean Pierre Jacquet. A lot of interesting stories there. Okay. So I like those. I like RGM a lot. As I said, okay, Stefan, Swiss made is a strange and on many levels conflicting label. Yeah, let's say that you have this really good German uh, or Japanese gear maker, and they make the really great gears, and it's so well, it's not Swiss made. On the other hand, some of the ones they knock out at Swatch are. Uh, might as well have champagne bottles filled in New Jersey. Oh, Dominic. Oh no. All right. Gee, you sound like a New York comedian talking about New Jersey. Even Swiss fondue cheese gets faked. Okay. Does made in Japan not have a similar problem as long as the production overseas? It used to, Val, the Japanese and I think also more and more the Chinese, they're coming out with some really excellent stuff. And so what used to be, considered a sort of a cheap alternative, there's a joke about the differences. And it has to do with these German engineers that created uh, uh, a wire that was so thin that you had to use a microscope to look at it. And they sent it to some of their fellow engineers in Japan. And about a month later, they got it back and they looked at it, and they looked at it through a microscope. And they found that the Japanese had drilled a hole in it. That's that was sort of the the comeuppance of the stereotypes we have about, well, if it's German engineering or Swiss watches or this, that, or the other thing. Okay, and it's the reason why guys like Voutilanen writes handmade and not Swiss made on their dial. Yeah. Also, FP Jorn doesn't put Swiss made, and he could, nor does he deign to have his watches tested by COSC. He figured they don't need it, and they don't have they're in no position to judge him, which I think is true. But he does have what FP Jorn has been putting on his newer ones. He doesn't put Swiss made; he puts Geneva made because the Botelier, the something or other that he either owns all in all or in part is also in Geneva where he has his cases made. So it's just funny. So he puts Geneva made. It doesn't doesn't he never bothered to put Swiss made. I heard the same story with Japan Swiss wire. Okay, yeah, it's a joke, and but it's sort of a, yeah. What about the Geneva seal? Val, the Geneva seal is only for watches made in the canton of Geneva. And they used to all go to Patek Philippe, but Patek Philippe got upset with them because I think they gave one to um, Roger Dubuis, and they gave another one to a Chopard, I think, that was made. Uh, I guess they had enough of it made in Geneva that they gave a Geneva seal. They got upset about that. And so now most of them go to Vacheron Constantin. And Patek Philippe has put their own seal on there, which I think is not, there's no point in doing that. I mean, uh, like FP Jorn may put made in Geneva, but he doesn't put here's the FP Jorn seal. Sort of like stamping yourself 100% beef. Um, Bon and Mercier has a great calendar moon phase for a very reasonable price. Yeah, that might be a good one. Watch Abbott. Baume and Mercier. Most of their movements have are ETA and Salida. Probably more going to Salida now. And but then they have the Balmatic made by Val Fleurier, which is sort of in house. They like to talk about it as being in house. Okay. Um, Horological tribalism. Yeah, that's probably exactly right. But you have there's so many. I mean, if you look at the history of it, London was, or England, well, London in particular was the center of watchmaking, and the Swiss really got big in it during the wars. After the Reformation and during the French Wars of Religion, because all of the Huguenots ran off to Geneva, and Geneva was run by uh, Jean Calvin, and who was like very strict, and there's no no glitter or anything of that allowed. But since they were very strict in terms of time, oh, making a watch was a great thing. So they had all of these unemployed jewelers, and so they started making watches and watch cases and so forth. And so they could make all the watches they want. They just couldn't make jewelry. This is in Calvin, Geneva. A friend of mine who lives in Geneva was telling me. She said that the Protestant churches there, which are mainly, I guess, some version of Lutheran, are all very austere, whereas the Catholic Church they're all decorated up. So I go there to check them out. No, we have other forces other than people liking watches at work. The Germans too. Went through the same Reformation. In fact, Luther was German, I think. And so you have all of these, this big war going on over religion, and so boom, off they ran to Geneva, where there was a big group of them. This is true with Breguet's grandparents. They were there because of they were Huguenots, and a few other ones were too. During the French Revolution, the French Revolution, I don't think was too. I don't religion. I don't know what part it played. It used to play so much back then that it was something, but I don't know. Who knows what's going to go on? Well, listen, guys, it's over again today. Um, Thank you for the tips, and we're hoping to hear next week. I hope a few more days from VitaRec again. We'll see where that's going ahead on it. Okay, pseudoscience. Love your tribalism. Take care. We'll see you guys. Be safe. Be smart. Be wise.